All right, we're good.
Yeah, it's very optimistic.
So I knew the mayor was not gonna be here tonight because they have that forum. But I thought Camden.
We've really talked about that. All things.
Okay.
Well, if he does decide to.
Never mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get this regular meeting, board of directors meeting in session. Start with public comment. Can you please state your name, address? We will have 3 minutes for each public comment. So go ahead and begin with that. Any public comment tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to our reports. Kyle may be here a little bit later. We'll fill her in if needed. Trustee Sinek, any?
Yeah, I'm not sure when the last time we met versus last time the town board met, but holidays is 24 on my brain.
Okay.
But if you haven't noted, the town board did support the thumb project. So now we'll go through the grant writing process. If we didn't support it, it wasn't going to go ahead the grant, but now it's going to have the grant. So if we get the grant, then we'll go through the spring. We did also decide that the IGA with the county is no longer should be like it was. And right now we're in a pattern that we're looking at different options, but as of right now we have no IGA with the county. So what happens?
So in the meantime, yeah, what's going on?
So in the meantime, well, it's already been decided that all of the development projects in the county or the unincorporated areas in Estes Valley will go to the county. That's already decided way before we started talking about the new IGA. With that, one of the proposals was that we would still have our joint development plan and joint planning commission and board of adjustments, but we just do it off, but the administration of everything would still be county and city, but that did not pass. So the next option that was brought up was doing kind of half that, half not. None of that has been approved yet, so as of right now, there is no IGA.
So, but is everything running as?
Everything's running, yeah.
As it has been until?
Right now,
something-
until the end of March.
Okay.
So we'll have, so everything will still be run through the towns in March.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, and any project that are already in the same or in the state of where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
They're not gonna change.
Cool.
That's it.
Any other comments, questions? Kyle, would you like us to go to the next one before we get to you, so you get some time to?
I can respond.
Happy
quickly,
New Year.
Sean. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yes,
I
yes.
was just coming back from my doctor's piano
Oh,
lesson. so
oh,
I
you're
was like,
fine,
okay,
you're fine.
I'll get there.
My daughter's downstairs, so you ballot.
It's a very artsy night.
That's right.
Okay, very good. Well, happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy holidays. Okay, so just a few things, and then always available to answer any questions that you might have for me. We're still working on our year-end visitation. You know, December really, not only are we looking at December numbers, but we're also looking at year-end. So usually the National Park Service as a whole will release the figures after they've gathered kind of all the park figures. So we normally release ours about late January, you know, to the public, if you guys recall. But we know our December visitation was up about 5%. I don't know if you all have, you know, felt that as well. But so our visitation will probably be very similar year end as it was last year. So we'll probably be up around 1.5% compared to last year's visitation. And you'll recall last year we were at 4.5 million and we were the third most visited national park. So it'll be interesting to see where we fall out this year. The holidays were really busy for us, particularly the weekends and even the weeks. Quite frankly, we had a number of days up at Hidden Valley where we had 500 plus sludders, you know, happening just down the sledding slope, and full parking lots there as well. So I'm sure you guys saw that as well. Those are just quick things. Just to remind you all, we sent out a news release in October looking at increasing our camping fees. And so that went into effect January 1. And so our front country campgrounds, you can book up to 6 months in advance and it's rolling. And so our summer went up from $26 to $30. And we're not seeing, you know, our campgrounds are booking just as they always do, boom, 6 months in advance, people are jumping on and, you know, our campgrounds are already full for, June. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
Wow.
for the 6 months rolling, I mean, as far as you can book, there, you can see like a weeknight here and there where we might have availability. And then winter camping increased starting January 1st. Marine Park Campground stays open year round, and that's a $20 fee. So I just wanted to remind you all, October feels like so long ago. And the public was very supportive. You know, we asked for public input in October, and they were very supportive of the increase for campgrounds. And it's, we look at comparables, and it's still a very, very good deal compared to campgrounds. So, and then just to let you know, we're in March 10th and 11th, we're having our biannual research conference. So we have this every other year. And last year we didn't have it because this time last year we were dealing with a shutdown. Not having to deal with that this year, thank goodness. But when we got back at the end of January, we just couldn't get it together. But it's a great 2-day conference. We usually have people come from, you know, universities coming up to talk about different science and research that's taking place in the park. So it's usually really well attended. So that's coming up. I'll tell you more about that next month. And then the last thing I wanted to just update you all on, I think I mentioned it a little bit at the November meeting, but we know we're going to be having some road construction, and we're just, they sent the bid out, bids came back, and so we'll know more about what phases will be funded, and I'll be able to give you more information at the February meeting. So we're still just waiting to hear back on that, but we will have some road construction this year. It's just a matter of which section and what the impacts will be. I'll know more here in a couple weeks.
Do you keep track of any numbers? I don't know how you like it. About increasing or decreasing of backcountry skiers?
We, anecdotally, you know, certainly from our rangers and our staff, backcountry skiing and AT skiing all-terrain continues to grow in popularity in the park. Particularly in the Hidden Valley area is the jumping off point, and there's some great backcountry skiing from the Bear Lake area as well.
This year has been crazy. Last year was a really big jump. This year is crushing last year with the people I'm seeing.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You think
And
that's what I was asking with the snow?
also, since the last meeting that I had been, so from the November to now, it's been a big change in attitude with a lot of the backcountry skiers in the park as far as their fitness towards openings and all that. So thank you.
Absolutely, very good. And
Plus it's open.
hopefully you all saw the statement that we
Exactly.
put on the skiers
Oh,
forum,
that
because we
helped.
had it
Yep.
Yes,
with
thank
the
you
false
so much.
information that was being provided, and so we were just like, really folks, there hasn't been closures. Don't panic, and this is actually the factual information for what the closures were, and hopefully that also made people realize that, oh, the road hasn't been closed that much. So
Exactly.
thank you, Sean, I appreciate you saying that, and I'll
Now,
pass that
with
along.
regard to
Thank you.
camping,
Absolutely.
your discussion about camping, because I've had several people at our resort asking about, is camping going to be privatized in Rocky Mountain National Park? There's been a lot of media on that. You've probably seen it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So there is a advisory group that gives recommendations to the Department of Interior on a variety of issues. And they had given some suggestions about how possibly to commercialize certain areas. And one of the places that they were looking at is campgrounds. And initially they were talking about potentially using Rocky as a study for our campgrounds. That was just a suggestion and was not taken up. So therefore, at this point, we always are looking at the possibilities of how we can run our campgrounds better or provide more services. But at this point, there is no intent to change the operations of our campground.
Because one of the reasons I had a concern, and I think I've seen a significant difference since the Indian Peaks area is being managed privately from where it was run by the Forest Service before. I mean, that's been a long time now, but it certainly has shortened the operating period and access and all kinds of things, roadways. I don't know if you get out there very often.
We do, and we have done some, meetings with the Forest Service to talk about kind of what they have seen, pros and cons from some of their operations. So I appreciate that input. We'll
Yeah.
continue to
We
keep that in
drove up,
mind.
I think, 3 different times when we thought, oh, it's gotta be open by now.
Yeah.
And kept getting different stories, and I think it finally opened towards the end of June last year. So I'd hate to see that happen right here.
Exactly, and we have, our campgrounds are very robust, and one of the things that was being suggested was, Wi-Fi access, food trucks, a variety of things, and, we continue to look that a lot of those amenities are being, provided in town.
Yep.
And that a lot of our campers, there was a lot of feedback from campers, there's some pretty strong media stories from visitors to the park that said that that's not what they were coming to the
We come to get away from.
come to get away. They're looking more for the primitive experience. That's what's so great about this area is that we can provide a variety of different camping opportunities for people.
And there's camping with Wi-Fi right outside the park, so.
Exactly. And some people, mentioned showers, that they probably would extend their stay if they have showers. And we always are looking at kind of ways to do, but ours right now are solar showers, so you have to work at it to get that warm water. But I appreciate that feedback, and as of now.
Well, it's good to
we're
get the
moving
update,
forward.
so, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.
So today, our agenda is fairly light. We have sort of regular operational updates, some housekeeping as far as elections of new officers, and then just some sort of posting of notices. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Almost up.
A second?
Awesome.
Any board comment? Public comment? Now, take your votes.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. All right. Motion, the agenda is approved. So we'll move on to the president and CEO update. Eric,
Great, thank you very much, and Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
First of all, our budget, of course, has been approved by both the town and the county, and it's been sent off to the state, all the paperwork that we are required to do. So we're starting with our new budget for this year, and we should be in good shape for all that. Also, I just wanted to mention again that we are going to conduct a brand new comp study. That's going to be done by RRC and Associates. And so that's something to get excited about because it's going to give us a good comparison of other markets. So we can look at, how are we doing compared to those markets, and we'll see some shifts and things from those, and we'll be able to start seeing trends, which I think will really help us understand if our marketing is effective or not. That's the whole intent of that. We're also working with RRC and Associates to conduct a resident sentiment survey. They recently did one in Boulder and also one in Steamboat. And so they're really good, robust sentiment surveys that kind of uncover feelings and attitudes about tourism and traffic and things like that. And we're going to do it in concert with the town's resident survey. So they're also doing a sentiment survey. So we'll kind of do it at the same time, and we'll share that with the town. And the town will share their information with us. So we won't have redundant questions.
Will it be one survey together or two surveys?
It'll be 2 surveys. We are going to send that out to some different subsets. So, for example, owners of businesses that may not necessarily live here. And so we'll have a couple of subsets in there, as well as residents. So, also, just as far as my activities during December, you can see about 19 community staff and stakeholder meetings. And I attended the NTA, which is the National Tour Association show, and conducted 64 interviews, which is, according to everybody there, that's like double the number that you usually get. So that was really good. We had not been to NTA, from what I understand, for ever. I don't know if ever we've been there, but it was the first time that Estes Park was represented, and so I think there's a lot of interest. A lot of the these are mostly receptive tour operators, tour bus companies, and a lot of them have been coming up to Estes Park, quite a few. I was pretty impressed by the number that said, yeah, we do trips up there, but we'd like to do more. And then there were a number that were just like, well, we'd love to consider that as part of our schedule. Most of those companies would plan that in 2 years. So we're looking at it's 2 years out that they would start because they've already got their itineraries planned for this next year. But anyway, it helped to reinforce some of the things that we were doing, which was good. We've got 3 new programs that are designed to support our stakeholders. First is the Google Travel program, which is for Google Travel pages and Google listings, business listings. And that's being done with CTO, Colorado Tourism Office. So we're basically sharing the cost. So that's a matching, kind of almost a grant type program. But this should really be helpful for us because basically they're going to conduct an inventory or a look at every business that's tourism related in Estes Park, and do they have their hours listed? Do you have your, in your Google business listing section, do you have the right photographs in the Google travel pages? And so it's a really good, a pretty robust program. It's not just the Google business listing part. And then they'll report back and say, here are the businesses that need help. And then our stakeholder services team will be able to reach out and have another good excuse to contact and talk to our stakeholders and help assist them with whatever it is that they need.
So our team will contact, so when Google says these people are kind of falling behind, our team will contact or try to contact those people.
Correct. Yeah, so it's a shared effort. So there's an agency involved as well that works with CTO. So it's not just Google, it's like the agencies in between CTO and us. And they're helping to guide that through the whole process. And then our visitor demand planning page is, that's what we're calling it for now, is basically an overlay of different data sets. So including weather for, out 10 days, looking at pace reports out 10 days. So we're going to have set layered data, which will give an indication of how much demand we're having every day during the next 10 days, as an example. We think that'll be very helpful for our retail stakeholders as well as for our lodging properties, because it'll just help indicate what kind of demand is going to be high, is it going to be medium, is it going to be low. And so that's the intent of that. And it'll live on our transparency page. And so that's going to be a nice new tool that we'll have available to our stakeholders. Also, our new visitors guide, as you might have noticed, is in front of you. And so you guys can take a look through that. This is the new A to Z guide. So it's a whole different kind of format. I think it's really great. It's very creative. And it's a nice refresh change for the visitor guide. So hope you guys like it and enjoy it and take a look through there. Okay. And we're going to have another quarterly advisory board meeting, which will be taking place on January 29th at noon. I'm still trying to decide where we're going to have it as far as location, but we'll get there. And on personnel, we're filling 4 positions. So we're in the middle of interviewing and reviewing, resumes. We've already scheduled a bunch of interviews for Friday and for Monday for group sales and for an executive assistant position. We're also going to be hiring a person for marketing. So Wendy has been rehired as a new stakeholder services support person. So she'll be working with Abby's team, and so we have to replace her position. And so we'll have a fresh person in here. Maybe 2 meetings from now, we'll probably have both Wendy and her work together just for the next board meeting. And hopefully they can get caught up and get online. So, some changes going on, but I think exciting things that's going to help bolster our team considerably and really will help us provide better services.
I was just wondering, you said the marketing person, is that going to be the new marketing director, or is that a different role?
So right now, Josh is doing a really good job, and he's really picked up the reins. So we're leaving Josh in that, at this point, in the interim marketing director. So it's going to be a support role.
So in the comment that the 4 positions doesn't mean that the 4 people have left. I had received some comments about concern of turnover. It's really 2 positions need to be filled, and we're adding 2 positions, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's
Shifting, moving things around a little bit.
And it might have sounded a little weird because in November, we told you we were interviewing for a position. And that was, we went with an internal hire. So now we need to replace that internal hire. So,
okay.
And then we're replacing a marketing position, which
Yeah, I had received comments.
will actually be lower salary overall if you look at the marketing team. And on the 2 sales positions, it's at that budgeted amount that we have. So, so we're staying within all of our budget stuff.
So really, it's only 2 new positions.
2 positions,
Correct.
even though there are 4 hires.
Correct. And we also have an intern from the high school, which I mentioned at our last meeting. So, and he's only working like 6 hours a week, so not too much. He's helpful. Also, the new Estes Valley Chamber of Commerce is up and running. Like you guys may have heard. And also, of course, we're continuing to meet with the EDC and I'm attending their board meetings. One of the thoughts that we had is for the chamber, the EDC, and I think we should also adopt the idea of having ad hoc board members who don't vote, but who are invited to come to our meetings so that we can stay aware of what each entity is doing. So like I said, I'm already going to the other 2 entities. And so I would like to invite them to have a position on the board, either their executive director or some president, their chair of the board, or whoever they want to send. But I just think that would be a good kind of reciprocal arrangement if you did that. So you guys can tell me I don't know if you need to take a formal motion on that or not, but
I feel like a discussion would be warranted to see if it would be more of a liaison as far as whether they just give an update, like a discussion in the beginning period, or if they're actually a member of the board as a non-voting member. But that could be a discussion that we have.
okay, great. And then we shift over to the marketing highlights. So for the month of December, we were flat on user sessions. Page views and session durations was down a little bit. Highway traffic was down on both 34 and 36 in November. Visitation at Rocky Mountain was down a little bit in November. And EPVC visitation in November was flat. So that's kind of where things were on the marketing side.
Can I ask a question?
Uh-huh.
We used to pretty regularly have, when Shannon was marketing director, he participated in these meetings.
Mhm.
We really haven't had anybody from the marketing area
I can bring Josh in.
participating. I think it would be a good idea. I would like to be able to ask questions.
Sure.
Feedback, yeah.
We're just trying to relieve staff a little bit there, but we'd be glad to bring them in
And I
quarterly or
think-
whatever you want.
Maybe every other meeting or something like that, but I think the same thing would probably apply to Abby. Any of those kind of positions, I think it would be nice to get their feedback.
Getting
Yeah.
input, yeah. I agree. Okay. Okay, and on the PR side, articles, we had 133 through the year so far, year to date. And that ad value is 570,845, which is pretty good. Again, they changed the formula, so I guess if you were basing that on the old formula, according to our PR agency, it would have been about $1 million. So that's about how much impact that new formula has had on. So the return on investment is about 8.3 to 1. Then on the stakeholder services side, you guys have seen all these numbers are in your reports. I'll let you read through those. Things are looking good pretty much on everything there. So I also wanted to mention.
Eric, one quick thing on the group sales. Have we made any progress in tying actual figures to our efforts on the group sales?
Yeah, I've been trying to consolidate that. And so, like I said, I was following up with some of the groups that have done RFPs and asked if they booked or not. For instance, I did a quick survey of a good sized group of those folks, and I got about 10% response back, but they said they did book. And that was by email. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a report of known groups that have booked, but it's going to be a smaller percentage until we really get that robust and much more organized. It's just going to take a lot. With our additional 2 salespeople, I think we'll get that really well organized.
I know just from my standpoint, what I'm seeing coming in as far as leads, pretty much summer. There hasn't been anything that I've seen that would be a group of the size that we could handle or that was non-summer. That's a concern
Yeah, that's
I've
the
heard.
problem is summer typically. But
Yeah.
they are midweek typically during the summer, which is good. There was a group I sent out as an example today that I know was July, but that was midweek. It was a Monday, Tuesday, and that should fit at your property or at your property, any of your properties actually.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
there's,
it may be for others, but I'm not saying, I don't know about you, but I'm not seeing any significant off-season or shoulder season. Are you seeing any of that from the group?
And this year, in fact, we're pretty down the opposite.
Yeah, and you guys do more groups. I don't know if you do groups. We do small
We do for small groups.
Yeah, so I want to see more of that.
Right. So one of the things we are shifting a little bit this year is we're focusing a little bit more effort on weddings because they are obviously a big part of the market, as well as family reunions. And we've worked with all of our agencies and talked about that as well. And so we've got some ideas this coming year in how we can make that even more robust, because those are kind of the low hanging fruit. We're still going after the group sales for corporate stuff, leads and things like that. And we are getting more corporate leads through our RFP process, so that's good. We're also updating CVET. We're going to actually be sponsoring it this year, which will give us more leads through CVET. And so that's a pretty valuable tool. That's what a lot of meeting planners use. So that should generate a whole lot more leads than what we've been generating leads from CVET, but it should generate more leads. And we're getting a little bit of leads also from Destination Colorado and MPI. So, but those, not a lot, but some. That said, I'll have a report for you guys on it that'll indicate the things that we've been able to uncover and find out that have been booked. And we're also sending out to people, please let us know if you do book this business so that you can get back to us and let us know about it.
So my experience with CVET, and this personally, just with our business, is it's pretty wide focus.
It is.
And like some throws something out there for any possibility and the amount of actual bookings from that, and my specific, which is very narrow, like niche market.
Smaller
Specific
meetings,
is
but
pretty small. So it'll be interesting to see how that works with the town as a whole.
Exactly.
And when will we have it report?
I think next board meeting should have it. So,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
okay, so let me get back to here. Okay, we already talked about Wendy is moving over to stakeholder services. And so these are some of the things that the stakeholder services team is working on. Again, one of the things they're working on is the service guide and also the lottery process. We're going to have a discussion about how we could possibly improve that whole lottery process and make it so everybody's happy if we can do that somehow.
You know the timeline on that? 'Cause I mean, it's coming up.
Yeah, I know it's coming up. No, I mean, I've been talking to Abby about it, and she's trying to pull together a team of outside people that have get input from stakeholders. So it's going to be soon. She was intending to do it actually before the end of last year, so we're a little behind the ball.
Well, I think taking our time with any changes is more important.
Right.
Than creating a firestorm. It's almost getting to the point now where, I don't know, it's a pretty major change for people. If it's any major change for people, it's gonna be problematic.
If there's a decision even to make any changes, so yeah, we'll take a look at it. And I do definitely want to go tenderly with that, so fine tune adjustments maybe over time.
There are feelings involved.
Yes, exactly. Let's see, 2020 pricing for website design and research, advertisement auctions, all that. And then we get to finance. So I'll turn it over to Kevin.
Good evening, everyone. A few things I just want to highlight. If we look at lodging tax, this is our November budget again, talking about stays that happened in October. This month really kind of highlights something that I've been bringing up subtly all year, but this month is the biggest example of it. And that is that lodging is up in Estes Park. That's the good news. However, it is one of the weakest sectors in the town of Estes Park as far as growth goes, especially any growth industry related that we relate to tourism. So for example, our entire area, the marketing district was up 5% over 2018 for October stays, which is great, one of the better months we've had all year. However, sales tax, which is just the town of Estes Park on lodging, was down 5%. And so what that means is our county properties are doing significantly better, at least in the month of October, than our town properties are. The county properties are carrying the marketing district, but obviously there's a discrepancy. A few things I'll get into a little bit later about what we're doing about that, but I think that is something that I have pretty much not stopped thinking about for like 40 days since I got these numbers, and I've talked with multiple of you. I don't have a good idea or a good answer. I think it's a good discussion point. I would love more people to talk about it and know about it because I think it's significant, but I don't necessarily know what it means yet. And the thing we're doing to ask that question is on what's today, 7th? On the 9th, we have our third round of the stakeholders survey going out. So we're going to ask every stakeholder in the area in our e-newsletter. We're going to be asking how your feedback on winter marketing, how are your bookings looking for January, February, March? Are you in the town or county is a new question we're asking here because that's becoming more and more significant as we go on. How's your success for VEEP promotions? Have you been taking advantage of our free services? Those are some of the questions we've been asked. This is the third time it's gone out.
You
We've
and I
gotten better
talked
responses.
last month because I had a couple of stakeholders reach out to me. Smaller properties, that they were really dismal for December. We were not, so it kind of surprised me. So one of the things that I think, and because all of our experiences are going to be different, one of the things that you and I talked about at that time was it's time for another survey. Let's see how everybody's doing. But I think if we're looking at now, January 7th, and we're asking about January, it's kind of late to respond to January. Because we should be getting these out at least on the beginning side. I mean, the time to do that may have been early December. But maybe we add April. So we get that if we can. I don't know if it's too far.
No, I can absolutely do that.
Yeah, instead of first quarter, be like February, March, April.
Yeah.
Kind of too
Because January's kind of in the box. Yeah.
We should have a base report for that.
Yeah. And it would be nice to maybe get into a regular, because, when we talk about feeding data out to the stakeholders, we need to be getting that data from them. So we can see what they're saying. I mean, overall, from what I hear, the town was busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the reasons I think it would be nice to interact with Josh is one of the things that we started doing, a year ago, we started really hitting on the town experience, trying to get people to come for the town. Well, are we doing that at the expense of lodging? Saying we want to hit the town experience and also come for the.
I have data to back that question up.
Yeah.
And the answer for October is yes. Because the town's sales tax on lodging was down. Every other sector was up. Food, retail, and recreation that they classify were all up. Lodging was down.
So it's not that we want to take away from that, but we
Right.
might want to add.
How do we get them to stay?
It was less than the increases in the other areas. It wasn't down, it was actually up.
It was
Down compared to 2018. Is what
for October.
Yeah, October was down. Lodging was down 5.8%.
I think that was only
compared
the
to
second
2018.
month this year, wasn't
It
it?
is for
That-
sales tax. It's the second. Lodging was only ever down 1, and
Okay.
that was, I believe, April. Don't quote me on that. It was March or April.
It was some.
And something that can skew the numbers from November forward was Expedia starting October started paying all local marketing district taxes in lodging. So from it was originally the state of Colorado did all third-party OTAs. Then they narrowed it down to just Expedia and everything they own, like TripAdvisor, all that stuff. So anything that comes from Expedia, they collect all taxes now and remit all taxes. So I'm interested to see if they are paying on time, because I was pretty skeptical on that. So there could be a pretty big skew in the numbers if they're late on reporting or if they don't. So that would be November reporting for October, because that took effect October 1st. That's something I meant to talk to you about.
That's the other thing is, are we seeing a difference with? It would be nice to be able to, and I think probably in the last survey we did it to some extent. If we're seeing a different up or down effect based on the type of property it is.
We do ask
Smaller
that as well.
Cabins, hotels.
I can't think of all 5 we have 6 categories that we do, and I'd be more than happy to take feedback on those. We basically, the questions we ask are based off the VEEP website: cabins and cottages, hotels, motels, lodges, inns. Yeah, I'm sure if we all work together, we can get all 6. But you get the idea,
We can never get enough
It
information.
should be tied together for as far as we're
right? Because that's how you advertise as well. Like when you buy a listing, it's based on that. So we're trying to keep that consistent. But it's going to be very interesting to see what our stakeholders have to say on this.
I wonder if our intern would be a good person to follow up on those surveys and say, hey, have you finished it? Because we really need this.
Well, and the other thing is
They're anonymous, right?
they are optionally anonymous.
Okay.
So we the very last question is the only one that's optional, and it says, "Would you like to share the name of your property?" 20% do, I would say, given the last two that we've done, give or take. And usually the ones who I give the names are 50% of that 20% are in this room.
Should,
So.
should this be a monthly?
We've done quarterly. There's definitely a case to be made for monthly. The only concern I would have of that would be participation and getting people to engage. And maybe going monthly would get higher engagement.
Right.
But I definitely think that's a consideration. Because what ends up happening is the data just, some people take, we do a couple reminders too. And so it ends up being about a 2-week spread where we get answers, which if you're asking February, kind of, if you answer now or if you answer in 2 weeks, kind of affects your data for sure.
Booking behavior can change drastically.
Yeah.
If guests are booking closer, then maybe monthly is something we need to do.
And then maybe people will just kind of see it more and be like, oh, I got to do that. And then the next one comes, if they miss it, they just jump on that one. It's definitely
But out because maybe in January, March looked horrible. February booked later for spring break, and all of a sudden March is great. And if you did it quarterly, then
we're not out anything to try it monthly. I mean, we can just start it and see how it goes. And you guys are here and out. You have all the friends in the industry, and if people don't like it, we'll go back to quarterly. We're not out anything to try monthly. I think it's a good idea for sure.
Especially now that we've got the questions.
A couple other things that I just want to highlight moving away from that a little bit is that with our November numbers, we are up 5% over 2018 through that time, which means that with our November payment, we have met our annual income goal for lodging tax. So, which is great. Obviously, that puts us in an extremely healthy cash position. We had budgeted, I wasn't here for the December meeting, but you guys signed my resolution with the proposed my adjustments, and we did hold in some of that back. And 3%. Yeah, basically we had predicted about 3% for the year. So however December kind of comes in, we're going to be right in line with that or up from that. So that's nice to know. A notable expense that I wanted to discuss, I always try to bring up at least one major expense that give you guys a little bit more info. With the production of the new guide, obviously we went with a brand new company. The quality is top notch. They dropped the ball on one thing, and that was fulfillment. We had originally planned on prepaying fulfillment in 2019, and they were going to just handle it. We basically escrowed all the postage. As soon as they started to really understand what that was going to be, and that they would have to mail to 60,000 people in the United States, they called us and kind of freaked out a little bit. But we had not canceled our current distributor yet. So basically, I connected them, and they're just paying for the same service we have this year. The guest will know no different, but it is a fundamental change from what I pitched to you guys in February, whatever it was. When we pitched the new guide, this company was going to do everything, and they are not for 2020. They are paying for everything.
Is there a cost change at all, or so?
No, basically it's here's the company, they're going to bill you because they're kind of eating the mistake basically.
Okay.
But it is a big change from what we discussed, so I just wanted you guys to all know what was happening.
And they're going to try to gear up so they can handle it next year.
Yeah, now that they know the scope, they had a couple.
Boy Scout troops.
That's right.
They had a few things get changed over as far as personnel, and apparently they didn't communicate how big our demand was.
Okay.
So it's all been financially, we're on the hook for the exact same amount we signed the contract for, but just a little bit different of how it's going to be handled. And then just something fun that I kind of looked at, when you look at sales tax through October, I kind of put some of the things that we as this board categorize as tourism. And 22.6% of sales tax collected in October came from lodging. So a fifth of our town's budget, our sales tax came from lodging. And then when you add up retail, food, lodging, and recreation, it's 67.5% of our sales tax dollars coming from those industries. Now, obviously, we all eat out, we all purchase things, so it's a little skewed, but those are the industries that we attribute to that. And I think that's just an important number for our town to be aware of.
Is that a
How much
higher number though than in the past? I think it looks like it.
It creeps up a little bit, and it creeps up a little bit in the winter because construction slows. Even though we're quieter in town, but everything's quieter, right? Because construction slows the
All but one
retail
car,
food.
all but one car that I interacted with on coming out from Ramshorn was from out of state. I only saw one local car. That was amazing.
That is
Pretty amazing.
I just went to Jackson and was interested. I was like looking lots there, and they're in the lower 40s as far as sales tax from tourism.
Wow.
67 is pretty good.
Yeah. So that's the end of my report. Again, I'm gonna definitely bump that up to monthly, starting this month. We'll do it on the 9th, and we'll just try to get it out the first week of every month. And then we'll be able to report back. We'll be a month behind reporting to you guys, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks.
Thank you.
Let's move on to our policy development. So we are now at the new election year. So all of our officer positions, chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary are up for re-election. I am term limited.
You're fired.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we do need to open up for election on that as far as our bylaws. So can I get some motions for? I don't know if it'd be easier to go just position at a time, or if we do it all in one lump motion. Or
I think we did lump last
You
year.
did.
a lump motion. Yeah. Okay. So first, I guess for just nominations, we go through one at a time. Then we'll do one lump motion at the end. So, anyone feel like they want to put their hat in for chair?
Don't everybody jump up.
I nominate
They give
Deb
you
for
great- yeah.
president, Tanya for vice president, and Pat for secretary,
That's a good number.
Oh my gosh.
and Sean for treasurer.
Just quick.
I'm already for treasurer.
No, I move.
Well, could I ask Sean, because I'd be willing to take on chair if I had a little support, and would Sean be interested in, not that you wouldn't give me support, Marie, but I know you
Oh,
got other
I'm
obligations.
nominating not to be.
But from learning the ropes, would you be interested in serving as vice chair?
Perfect, the time, perfect treasurer,
Yes.
and Pat be perfect secretary. I move, Deborah becomes president,
It's very
Sean
convenient
is
for
vice president, Tanya is treasurer, and.
Watch
Patty
out, we
secretary.
haven't gone to committees yet.
Pat was already the secretary.
I know, he's not term limited though.
Yeah, he's not.
You served 2 consecutive terms.
Treasurer is
Chair is the only term.
it's easy. I mean,
It's easy.
yeah.
Oh, chair is
it
only
is.
term limited?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
fair.
I move.
I try to make it easy for you.
I
Thank you.
We got a first and a second, let's vote. Aye.
Any comment? Board comment?
So I do have a
Yes.
public comment, just so everyone knows. All 5 board members that are currently here will be signers. So that'll be the next thing that we'll need to do,
Correct.
because everyone is a signer. But the treasurer, that's the main role, is that we discuss all the invoices and things. So that'd be the main thing that you'd be committing to. Just give you a little bit about the job. We kind of talk through all the expenses. We review a P&L and a balance sheet every month.
So
Nice.
basically with Kevin, I get together with him maybe a couple times a month.
Probably about once every 2 weeks. You know,
Yeah, and then if you have anything out of the ordinary, you make me aware of it, we discuss it.
Pretty much.
And that's pretty, so it's straightforward.
Yeah, we got a motion and a second.
Board comment?
Was there, who seconded it?
Pat seconded.
It all happened
Any
so fast.
board comment on this?
Thank you.
There's a lot to record.
Yes. Any public comment on this? Right, seeing none, I'll go for your votes.
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
All right, so Deb, you wanna take
Do I know? We do it at the next meeting, right?
I got thrown in the fire.
You got
Yeah, we can do it next meeting, it's okay.
Next meeting.
I have to prepare.
All right,
All the
next
easy
is,
stuff is left.
Yeah.
I know. It's okay. Next is resolution 01-19.
What happened to our speeches?
Speeches. To establish designated posting location of public premises. This is just something we do every year, and we have been posting them at the library, and this is just to continue doing so. Can I get a motion to approve this?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Any board comment on this?
Have you got any comments about people not knowing what the meetings were? or
I
anything
have
like that?
never received.
And I think we've done it now. This would be the 3rd year going into it with the library, or is it the
Library,
4th?
it's been a long time.
We also do them on our website.
Since the beginning.
Since the beginning, since
Since the beginning?
2009.
Never had.
Yeah.
There was a time, wasn't it, at the town hall or something?
Not that I remember.
Okay,
Not that I know of.
all right.
Maybe when it was first
Meetings were
established, maybe?
Maybe,
Okay.
yeah, it's been.
Anyway, it's been there for a while, so it's logical.
Any public comment? All right, hearing none, I'll take your votes.
Aye.
Aye. All right, resolution 01-19 has been passed unanimously. Now moving on to resolution 02-19, it's to assign new bank signatories.
Oh, those actually should
Oh.
be 01-20 and
Oh,
02.
20s.
It's
Okay.
correct on the digital one. So it's 20.
Digital, okay, so going back, sorry, I printed this out. So do we need to do the second one again?
Did you say 19?
I did say 19.
You do.
All right, so going back, resolution 01-20 to establish designated posting location. Can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll move to.
Second?
We said it. 'Cause I've got-
I guess, right.
Anyone second?
I did, I seconded
Okay,
it.
second. All right, board comment? Public comment? Votes?
Aye.
Aye. All right, resolution 01-20 has been passed unanimously. This is resolution 02-20 to assign new bank signatories. All right. So now that we've created new officers, we need to create new signatories. So this is just stating that at the both Bank of Estes Park and Bank of Colorado, we'll all sign that form again, correct? All right, can I get a motion to approve this?
With that,
Motion to approve. Can I get a second?
second.
Any board comment? Public comment? I'll take your votes.
Aye.
Aye. All right, resolution 02-20 has passed unanimously again. Now here's where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
We've got our committee appointments. Okay, so we have current committees are the governance committee, finance committee, strategic marketing and metrics, group sales, community advisory board, and the VP liaison to the EDC board.
Can I volunteer?
Sure.
I'd like to volunteer for the first two.
All right.
Governance and finance.
And you're the chair, so you can actually be on.
I can be on any of them.
one.
Okay.
I'd like to go through for them.
Governance, all right, cool. So we got Marie and Deb on governance. That's perfect. Any comments with that? No, sorry. Finance. So finance then would be Deb and Tanya, because Tanya can already automatically be on the finance as the treasurer. Strategic marketing and metrics works with the head of marketing and stakeholders with marketing backgrounds to provide input on the future direction.
I'll volunteer for that.
Alvin and I. Cool, very good. Group sales committee, established in 2019 to align efforts with stakeholders that already have group sales programs.
I believe I'm on that one.
You're on that one already? Would you like to continue to be on that one? Right, Tony, very good.
Which one was that?
Group sales.
Group sales, community advisory board.
It's rotating, right?
Initially we said it was rotating, up to two can be on that. I've been to one. It's very informal, or very informative, very.
It was just you and Todd were at the last one.
Ninety.
No,
Tanya.
Tanya was there. It was Tanya and I, correct.
So we're just rotating, or we,
You want to rotate it, or do you want to keep it?
I think rotating would be good.
Okay. So as we go, just when you're sending out that invite, maybe send it out to everybody and then kind of get on it.
Yeah, so be thinking about what two of you want to come to the next one, which
Okay.
is this one.
And the VP liaison to the EDC. We haven't had a board member attending these meetings in a few years. Have you been at?
I've been going to all of them, yeah.
Do you feel like that's sufficient? I mean, it would be kind of duplication to have a board member and
Probably.
there.
So the
Unless you're
reason that
interested.
was on there is because we had an agreement with the EDC that we would provide a liaison board member. It does not necessarily have to be a member of our board liaisoning, I'll get it out here in a second, with their board. I wanted to make sure that it was on the radar for
Okay.
everybody. If we're gonna do the EDC and now the chamber.
Chamber also
Correct.
has invited us.
So that may be a good discussion to have as far as if we're going to do liaison versus ad hoc roles for people. And if we want to make it board members or CEO or how we want to do it. That might be one for later. That
Yeah.
I would recommend that. 'Cause I
Yeah,
don't feel
because
like.
any changing that with this would have to go through the commissioners and the town board also.
Correct.
It's not an easy change.
No.
Yeah, so why don't we just
Or to
table that one?
Even for non-voting?
later and have Eric
Yeah.
continue to do it?
I appreciate it.
So yeah, Eric continuing to go, I think.
Inviting them would be perfect.
Oh, they could, yeah, our meetings are always open to.
Okay.
Yeah, they're always
exactly.
open to
And we'd always welcome updates from.
We can, it would not require anything to add them as an update, just like
No.
Kyle did.
Yeah, we don't have to give them a formal title.
And that's why I like, personally, I think that that's probably
The easiest way to do it.
the easiest way to do it without.
Otherwise, you're fundamentally going to have to change the IGA to put them as non-living.
So that's the way I'll approach it. Make it easy.
That's
Just let them, give them a space to update.
If that's what you guys all want.
It's totally.
I want to just invite them as a,
Yeah.
I guess.
Whenever they need an update, they are more than welcome to come over.
And if they want to provide us with a report update.
Yep. Correct. All right, so let me see if I can make this motion.
There was one
Oh,
other committee, and it only met, I don't know if it was a formal committee or whatever, but Shannon put together a group of people to do a marketing committee, kind of an advisory board. And I know Shannon and I think there were 3 other people that participated, 3 or 4. And then it
That's the
got,
strategic marketing.
Yeah, would that be?
That is the marketing.
that is, what's the name
It is.
And if you don't mind me, that was a good committee. I'd like to jump on that one too. Is that
Yeah.
okay? But I guess I can now, right?
You can do whatever.
Yeah, you can have 2 people on it.
Okay.
Up to 2
Because I feel like we dropped the ball a little bit on that,
with the transition.
with the transition and everything.
And I've been talking to Josh about getting that back up and running.
Yeah, and they had some good ideas, good ideas, especially in wintertime. And I think it would be nice to pick that up again.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Right, so.
We had some public comment at the end of the table, Sean.
Yeah, she.
Oh,
I started to jump
oh,
in.
sorry.
I wanted to just mention, I'm here as a reporter for the Trail Gazette, but I also work for EDC. And so thinking about I'm actually going to be, this is my beat now, so I'll be attending all of your meetings on behalf of Trail Gazette. If it works out, I'm happy to provide EDC update and be that liaison role. I'm not sure if that gets into anything or what your discussions will.
Sorry, like.
Jessica Jenkins.
I saw you in on the newspaper.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you. Welcome. Yes.
We
I mean, yeah,
don't have to have a board member, we can have anybody decide.
Yeah, it's really whoever EDC wants to appoint.
Yeah, if the EDC feels like that's perfect. Yeah.
I'll speak with Adam about it, but Eric at least wanted to put that on your radar.
That's good points. That's great already.
Okay. So I would move to have Deborah Gibson and Marie Senek on the governance committee, Deborah Gibson and Tony Houston on the finance committee, Pat Murphy on the street marketing committee, group sales with Deborah Gibson, a group sales committee, Tony, you are on that one, and the community advisory board being a rotating board member committee determined
What is the next one of those?
the 29th.
29 this month.
And the VEP liaison to the EDC board being a table discussion for the meeting. Any board comment on that? Or, okay, a second.
Second.
All right. Any board comment?
I can go to the 29th meeting.
Perfect.
Physically there.
So we'll have Marie plus one on the 29th.
It's here.
For the community advisory
I'll
board
send it.
meeting.
I'll send it.
Any public comment on that? And we would welcome, if you do go back to the EDC, that'd be perfect. Probably kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Sure.
And I'll take your votes.
Aye.
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 All right, we have our committee appointments taken care of. Moving on to our consent agenda. I do the approval of the minutes from the December 3rd, 2019 meeting. Can I get a motion to approve those?
I approve.
Say it.
So I'm on the calendar and say,
I was like, I was with you, I don't know.
I'll move to it.
All right, second.
Second.
Any board comment on that?
I thought we were at the vote, sorry. So I was like,
All right, any public comment? I'll take your votes.
Aye.
All right, consent agenda has been passed. Any board comments tonight?
I like this. So far.
Yeah.
It's
And you
nice.
guys
I'm looking
also-
forward to seeing it.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Everything is different, just about.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
it's
quite
round
a
up.
major change.
Round up redesign.
I think it's a little lighter than the old one too, which is a good thing.
I want,
No, same number of pages.
Same.
I guess it's paper. It's lighter.
It's not.
I bet it sounds a little heavier myself. But it looks more modern.
The only thing that's really different in terms of like paper is there's no UV coating. UV matte coating on
There you go.
There you go.
it, which means they're not as slick.
So I have one small thing to share. This
That's
isn't
water
finance,
instead.
so I wanted to wait until the end to share, but talking about the athlete in residence with Josh not being here, it's just a cool thing. We can actually announce a couple of the athletes that we have coming this year. And turns out this program is really popular among athletes. So like last year we had cool people that have like niche followings, but this year it's just crazy, the followings. So like our first one is Carolina Gulch. I don't know if you guys all heard her on Joe Rogan's podcast last week, but she has like 200,000 followers, big climber, skier. She'll be here in May. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She's coming in March. And then Courtney Dowwater is coming in May, who is probably the best female runner in the world, or at least a contender, something like 250,000 followers. So we had some smaller, like regional athletes. And these are all people who live in Colorado and just have insane following. So that program is just going to be, we've got a couple others I can't release yet because they haven't signed, but the people that are interested, like, it's just been incredible for me. Well, it's the company that we're partnering with. So it's really, really cool.
That is awesome.
Don't be surprised if like next year you start hearing about athlete in residence and Steamboat and Jackson and all these other, like, it's going to be copied for sure. Anyway, I just want to share those names and pull them up on Instagram and follow them because when they come here, it'll be cool to see all their stuff.
And we've got double the budget for that this year because of the grant.
Correct. I just want to thank everybody. It's been awesome 2 years. Crazy.
Good job.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, so meeting adjourned.
Is your wife happy?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it. We've got 20 and we got